But no, look, why am I feeling so like happy and buoyant?
I
Because
know. Why are you?
I've had like a major change in my life, like developmentally, fucking leap forward. I passed my driving test.
License to drive.
It's so funny. I thought you were going to say the birth of your daughter, but no.
Zero. Fucks given. Podcast.
Today we'll be discussing Rudy Giuliani's new coffee line, Red Lobster's bankruptcy file, the British tech giant on trial for fraud, South Park's take on the Ozempic craze, and much more. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Even if you don't like or want to subscribe.
Even if you don't, just like it anyway.
And we'll find you.
We are going to kick off on a positive note today. We have been fairly critical of Korea, the participants in its stock market, and its regulators. So today we are going to switch it up, and we are going to be positive about Korean financial market participants. They are amongst the most crazed and deranged, it seems, but we got to be fair to them. A couple of weeks ago now, Soren Andal put out what I thought was a very well-researched, interesting thesis on a US company called Insulet. Honestly, it got a pretty muted reaction in the US, albeit he had the misfortune of dropping it on a day when meme stock euphoria was back. But that doesn't matter. What matters is there was a long piece of the trade, which involved being long a Korean company called EOFlow, who had an injunction reversed, which meant that they were actually now able to sell a competing product. While the US line didn't react, the Korean line has gone fucking ballistic, which I'm sure has led Soren to wonder why he's a short seller and not just a Korean retail investing god. But it just goes to show that leopards can change the spots, and at the moment we're firm believers that Korean retail investors are the smartest investors on the planet, or at the very least, smarter than U.S. institutional investors.
And in no way is our view colored by the fact that we were actually long this Korean name.
Absolutely
and,
not. We
benefited from
I knew
the
you were going to say that.
South Korean retail investor bonsai charge headfirst into buying that stock.
No way.
No, that doesn't color the way we think about it at all.
So DLocal, which the ticker's DLO, they call themselves a fintech company. It's based out of Uruguay. We called them a fraud. That stock is down over 48% the past 2 months after reporting Q1 earnings in March. And what is also important to understand is that as a short, the alpha on this has been fucking insane. Like, you know, its peers have largely ripped the past couple of years while this has gone down. It's kind of funny because there was this point in time when we were getting some shit from people because the company brought in a new CFO who came from Mercado Libre. And everybody said, if DLocal is such a fraud, why would this guy have joined from Mercado Libre? You know, he's such an honorable guy. And it was interesting because talking with some investors who knew him from Mercado Libre and met with him after he joined DLo, he said, oh, I did extensive due diligence before I ever joined DLo. Now, the thing that we had pointed out was that per DLo's accounts, just before it went IPO, it paid a special dividend to its pre-IPO shareholders. But we pointed out that per its accounts, that dividend must have been funded using its customers' money. DLo said, no, of course we wouldn't have done that, but they never provided an explanation for why their accounts otherwise did not tie. And we said, hey, guys, just explain. Like, you know, did we add up the wrong line items here? Of course, total silence publicly. So when the new CFO joined from Mercado Libre, and he's telling everybody that he had done due diligence before joining DLo, the people with whom we had spoken who talked to him, he'd never explained, again, how they could have paid that special dividend without dipping into their customers' money. So he bounced about, I think, a little inside a year as the numbers were bad. And since he left, this is the first quarter since he left, and the numbers are even worse. And I think it just goes to show a few things. This took a lot longer to unwind than it should have because we live in the WWE, the world without enforcement, apparently, especially if it's an overseas company. But that's what happens with a fraud. When they try to unwind it, the numbers get ugly. So anyway, this is Muddy Waters taking a victory lap, and all you haters out there on D-Lo saying, fuck you.
Look, I got to admit, there's been an ancillary benefit from the work we did on D-Lo. I know you think I'm worldly because of the accent and the retro football shirt I'm wearing. I got to admit, prior to D-Lo, I probably couldn't have pointed out Uruguay on a fucking map. But I'm not sure.
Are you
any
sure
of the
you
investors-
still can? I'm not even sure you'd get the continent right, bro. Like Africa or South America?
Former New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani has launched his own coffee line called Rudy Coffee. I love that his business partner on this venture, Dr. Maria Ryan, his unfortunate financial situation due to lawfare isn't the reason for launching Rudy's Coffee. Everybody has a side hustle, okay? So let's not, this is my side company. I got a couple of side, go ahead.
So up till learning that his coffee is like $30 a bag, I understood that the most expensive coffee in the world came from Vietnam, and it was the kind where the beans were shit out by civet cats. Like literally,
What?
Yeah,
they
Kopi
feed-
Luwak.
Yeah, they feed the coffee beans to civet cats. They shit it out, and it's supposed to be amazing coffee.
And
but
it's Indonesia, my friend, who doesn't know where anything is in the world.
nah, actually, it's Vietnam, bro.
Okay.
But this coffee, like that, Rudy shits out himself, alcohol infused. This dude probably his processing time has got to be cut quite short by all that alcohol, man. Like this guy can produce. Like this is going to make him money if anybody's willing to buy that. The factory runs 3 shifts a day, 24 hours nonstop.
I think there's been actually a bit of a misunderstanding here. I'm not certain that he's selling coffee for the nutritional value. I think there's a decent chance that where he stumbled upon this wonderful branding opportunity is that he's been using it in his hair. And that's when, do you remember, infamously, it kind of all ran down?
The squid ink. What's kind of incredible also is people have stopped talking about this just because, there are so many layers of absurdity with Rudy Giuliani. But he was sued a little over a year ago by a former employee. So she was hired to be his assistant, and she puts it, she had to start getting him boozed up at 10 in the morning, pouring the scotches, make sure he got home okay at night. But Rudy forced himself upon her numerous times, according to her complaint. And
Is that surprising?
that's the only part of this dude that still works. It's amazing. Everything else is a total failure, is falling apart. He looks like, at the end of the first Indiana Jones movie, the dude whose face is melting. That's what Rudy Giuliani looks like. But yet somehow this dude's dick still works. It's a miracle.
I'm going to show you this commercial. Let's go to the video right now.
You all know I stand by the truth. And if I put my name on something, I truly believe in it. Today, I'm thrilled to introduce you to something I'm incredibly proud of. My own brand of organic specialty coffee, Rudy Coffee. Believe me when I say it's the best coffee you'll ever try. It's smooth, rich, chocolatey, and gentle on your stomach. It's so good, I even recommend drinking it black. It comes in 3 varieties, including what I promise is the best decaf you'll ever have.
Holy fuck. So, several things to say there. Number 1, good move shaving your head. Okay, so we don't have the squid ink, shooting all over problem.
True, yeah.
Number 2, I like when you said, I recommend it black, because I think that's the only black thing in his life he's never discriminated against. So, Red Lobster, a restaurant chain that I'm proud to say I've never been to, has recently filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. And the death blow came in the form of its all-you-can-eat shrimp promotion. Now, one could say that the lesson here is never bet against the American eater. And I know that that's something that all of us deeply believe to be true. But this is actually a little bit more interested and complex because the controlling shareholder is a public company based in Thailand that's a seafood company. And that's owned by a family. And the family's primary asset is its ownership of the Thai public company's stock. So it seems like what could have happened here is that the Thai company was basically forcing Red Lobster to borrow more and more money to buy shrimp in order to benefit the financial results of the Thai company. So it's not just about the American eater. I'd say this is about good old-fashioned Asian, like you don't want to be a minority shareholder kind of capitalism.
Yeah, it's truly awesome. Having never been into a Red Lobster, I can only imagine the scenes that took place. You know, you've seen on Black Friday, like these swarms of people who will literally trample over each other for $16 off a flat screen TV. And I'm just imagining fucking stampedes, potentially a few hours into the all you can eat fest, maybe the odd restaurant manager thinking we're charging $26 a plate and that motherfucker's eating about $300 worth of shrimp. Maybe we should approach him and see if he'd slow down his consumption. And that that guy would have just been grabbed by the scruff of the neck, get fresh, lower class lobster breath in his face, and be told to fuck off. I'm just imagining how this all played out. I wish I was there. So, continuing on the theme of the American eater, South Park, a favorite and key component for getting employed at Muddy Waters. South Park is releasing a new special centered around the rise of weight loss drugs like Ozempic. It is titled South Park: The End of Obesity. A teaser for the episode dropped and features a medication commercial for a fake weight loss drug called Lizzo. And then there was an actual Lizzo reaction video. So it was her in real time reacting to this trailer, which has been circulating on social media, and it's just fucking awesome. I don't want to spoil this for people, but this is South Park at its absolute best, because not only is it skewering the bullshit body positivity stuff, not only is it kind of really honing in on the kind of cult of Ozempic and socially how that's playing out amongst people, but they also managed to completely kneecap the US insurance industry. So it truly is South Park at its absolute finest.
And so one of my favorite things about Lizzo is she's being sued by some former backup dancers. And one of the things that they're alleging is that she complains to them about their weight and that they needed to lose weight. They were too fat. So
is that true?
I don't care.
I mean,
I don't
they're going to
care.
prove. They're going to seek to prove it potentially. But if those allegations are true, I don't know whether to love her or hate her. Right? It's there's hypocrisy, but on the other hand,
You're gonna say that.
you're not wrong.
And let's play the clip.
Here we go.
I was telling you, Sheila, these new drugs are pretty amazing. I was feeling so ashamed of myself, watching Randy go out and exercise all the time and not eating as much. But I just don't have the same kind of willpower he has.
Which of the drugs are you on, Sharon? Ozempic, Manjaro?
Oh no, I talked to my doctor. He said insurance would only pay for those if I had diabetes.
But if you can't afford them, then how are you managing your weight?
Don't you know, Sheila? Now there's a whole new obesity drug for those of us who can't afford Ozempic and Manjaro. I've controlled all my cravings to be thinner with Lizzo.
I can tell she's trying to figure out whether she should love it or hate it.
I've lowered my
I'm
standards
trying to figure out whether
and my
she should love it or hate it too.
expectations.
It's fucking dope. I mean, I gotta think there's gotta be something about being a celebrity that when you get to the point with South Park taking like shots at you, you're like, all right, I've fucking made it. Like, I'm here to stay.
I don't know. Muhammad didn't take it too well when they made fun of him.
Yeah, he's never taken it well. Like, there's a bunch of cartoonists who can attest to that. Like,
No, they can't. They're dead.
that's true. Yeah. Those guys. Shit. Just to be clear, we're not trying to offend you guys because we like being alive.
Freddie absolutely has been lobbying to impose Sharia law in the office.
To be fair, I think we would get a quicker response out of Krista for emails if she knew the consequences of disappointing a man under that culture.
No, I'm not sure that under Sharia law she'd be allowed to drive a keyboard.
Is that because I'm a lesbian?
So last week, British entrepreneur and Autonomy co-founder Mike Lynch testified in his own criminal fraud trial in San Francisco. Lynch is accused of inflating sales and misleading regulators. While taking the stand, Lynch defended his role at Autonomy, saying the firm was, quote, not perfect, and he wasn't fully responsible for their decisions. Now, I love this because Autonomy was a heavily shorted stock before big stupid fucking HP bought it. And a bunch of short sellers had written letters to the directors before they bought it, warning them that Autonomy was a fraud. So no sympathy for anybody involved here from me. How about you guys?
So what's interesting about this is he fought extradition for almost 10 years, I think. And there is a little part of me that is sympathetic to the idea that he should be tried in the UK. I mean, it was a UK-based company. He was, as far as I understand, the only real connection to the US was that like HP were dumb enough to buy this thing. So he fought extradition for a good 10 plus years. And then I think the kind of final straw that broke the camel's back in terms of his extradition was he had a civil trial in the UK that went very, very, very badly for him. And at that point, he was no longer able to kind of lean on politicians to fight the extradition order, because he's a big donor to the Conservative government, which I think means giving them like £8.50 based on what I've noticed from how cheap it is to buy the UK government. So
who's cheaper, Labour or Conservatives?
I think he gives to the Conservatives.
But who's cheaper? Like, who'd be, if we ever move to the UK, like, is it cheaper to try to buy Labour or to try to buy Conservatives? Tony Blair upped the game.
He did
on
up
the
the
Labour
game.
side.
He did. I think you give to both. Just don't give to the Liberal Democrats, because even though you need to give them less, they're never getting into power, so it really doesn't fucking matter. So Nvidia stock raced higher this week after earnings, but that doesn't mean all is well in the world of AI. Google's new AI overview search feature has come under scrutiny after providing inaccurate and inappropriate information to users. For one prompt, asking about smoking while pregnant, Google's AI stated that doctors are recommended smoking 2 to 3 cigarettes per day during pregnancy.
I mean, that's not a lot.
It's not a lot.
As an alternative to smoking like a pack, it's not a bad recommendation. It makes
It's all
some
about
sense.
perspective. It's all about perspective. So, to be honest, I was also less concerned about this because when you go to the first page of Google for any other medical advice, it just says you got cancer. So, to my mind, this is like the least bad outcome ever. Like every time I go to Google, I'm like, I got like a little bit of pain and like 15 different ways you could have like testicular cancer. I'm like, but I got a pain in my finger.
Well, I think you solved the mystery because Google is tired of being wrong about you having cancer. So its AI is trying to make it so that it will never be wrong again when it tells you it has cancer. So Google's AI is probably trying to give everybody advice that will lead to cancer. It makes perfect sense.
Start them young.
So I don't understand. So every time you don't feel well, you go onto Google and do your own research? Dr. Brick?
No.
Or
Every time I don't feel
So
well,
much better than going on to DuckDuckGo and to do your research about like why you're not feeling well.
Okay, Krista, firstly, just because you go to Ask Jeeves, don't turn your nose up at me. Secondly, every time I feel terrible, I look over you and I think, could be a lot fucking worse.
I set myself up for that. Okay.
So I want to introduce a topic very dear to my heart, the Bill Hwang trial. No, I'm not going to talk about the merits of the case. I'm going to talk about the fact that the judge is 90 fucking years of age. And this brings up a few really key things. The first is, the concept of a meme stock was discussed, to which there was then a long explanation as to what a meme stock was, to which the judge then asked, well, what is a meme? So that just raises all sorts of questions. But I think it also raises, honestly, a flaw in some of our research from many years ago in Inogen. Carson, do you want to explain where we might have been wrong?
Yeah, big mea culpa here. So Inogen was a provider of in-home portable oxygen systems, usually for people who've got CPOD, which is, I think, cardiac pulmonary obstructive disease. What they had done, this is something I've railed about a number of times, how you have this market research industry that all the time is cited in offering documents, their research as to, the rate at which the market's growing, the size of the market, the company's position within it, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, Inogen had cited research done by a market research firm called Wintergreen that said that, they've got all this growth ahead of them. Well, we obtained the Wintergreen research. It was obvious that it had been written by a bunch of Chinese students who are not native speakers of English, because it'd be like a bunch of Chinglish and then straight out plagiarism of New York Times articles. One of the growth drivers that Wintergreen research identified for the portable oxygen concentrator market was aging judges. And this one was actually, I think, the funniest part of the entire Wintergreen research piece on the POC market was them saying, well, with America's judges getting older, they will also need portable oxygen concentrators. And I thought that was just a sick fucking joke until I heard that Bill Hwang's judge doesn't even know what a meme is, let alone a meme stock. Yeah, we're all fucked.
Let's end on that note. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope to see you next time.
But who do you see? How do you actually see anybody?
I don't know. You're
Come
so
on.
annoying. I don't know
And
what
say
to
it like you
I
mean
don't
it.
like
Say it like you really mean it.
I
Like you
really hope to see you guys next time.
No, I really hope you see me again soon.
I really hope. Stop.
Eye
I don't wanna
contact,
do
straight
it.
into the camera. Don't forget to like us and subscribe.
But I already said that in the beginning.
Say it again.
See you next time. Don't forget to like us and subscribe.
Zero. Fucks given podcast.